Welcome back to a brand new Creative Encounter Podcast episode. I am your host, Juliet C. Payne, and you are back for episode 61 of this podcast. Welcome. If this is your first time on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell. We drop an episode every single week. If you are a recurring listener and watcher, thank you so much. Love you guys so much. And if you are kind of dabbling in between and you want to jump on board, please go ahead and subscribe like I mentioned. And remember, we are a nonprofit, so if you want to support this ministry monthly, I would absolutely love that. Link is in the description below. But without further ado, I am here with a great friend. When we just connected today, we're like, it's been a couple of years.
It has been.
Since we connected. This is crazy. So this is my guy, Austin Deadman. He is a musician and a music director. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Glad to be back here in Chicago.
Yes, sir, man.
Sure.
So good. Yeah, I love how you just went straight to it because I was going to talk about, you said back here in Chicago. So tell the people where you have been. What have you been up to?
Yeah. I've been touring with this little production called Hamilton for the past 3 years.
Crazy,
as the associate music director on the Angelica Tour. So been traveling all around the conterminous U.S. for, latter part of 3 years. Yeah. And then it closed back in June, so I've been back here in Chicago, my hometown, ever since.
Yes, sir. So, dude, that's insane. So let me tell y'all what Austin did to me, y'all. Let me tell y'all what my guy did to me. So my business, Starving Artist Courses. So Austin was a part of it. He's going to teach music. I think was it Beat It or was it like we were gonna do a Michael Jackson song. You had your Nord. Yep. And you know where the Nord is, the Lord is.
Yeah, absolutely.
We already know that. So he brought his Nord over. We're like about to start shooting these lessons. And he's like, "Oh, Juliet, I don't think I can do this because I'm about to go on tour with Hamilton, whatever." I'm like, "What, bro? Go do your thing." But I'm like, "Man, this is my guy." So crazy.
I didn't mean to leave it too high and dry, but it was also like they were like, "Hey, could you join us in 2 weeks?" I'm like,
I remember that.
Guess so. So I found myself driving over to the East Coast in a blizzard. Yeah. It was wild. Wow. So it was very fast.
Drove?
Oh, I drove the whole tour.
Was it New York?
It was where was it? It was somewhere. It was Philly. It was Philadelphia.
Philly, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, wow.
So basically drove over there in an ice storm. Thought I might die, and then we made it over. It was good.
Wow.
So did that for 4 months. Yeah. Just kind of learned how everything was working because that was the first time I ever did a major tour. Yeah. And so I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew the music, and that's the only thing I needed to know, essentially. Yeah. And then, went to a few different cities kind of down the East Coast. And then COVID happened. And so then came back home and just kind of picked up where I left off. Yeah. So.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so you have to... So we're going to backtrack a bit.
Of course.
So to get to that level, because us as artists, we want to be able to have those opportunities, depending on how far you want to go into your musicianship. We want to go to those places and have those different opportunities,
Yeah.
So we want to take it back to how did you first kind of get into music, and then the phase of, man, this is what I really want to do, and then to make those connections and kind of really just be going on tour with such a great production,
Well, the funny thing about that is, so I always knew music was the thing that stuck, right? So I did a bunch as a kid growing up. I was involved in acting lessons. I thought I might go into acting as a full-time thing. I did gymnastics. I took these art classes. I actually got very into video production and, graphic design, that kind of thing. And so music was the only thing that really stuck. And as far as Hamilton goes, I had no idea. I had no idea I'd be touring on a theatrical production as a full-time musician. But essentially, I started playing piano at the age of 6, and I had enough people tell me, hey, don't quit, because I quit and I regret it. People always told me that they regretted quitting. So I thought, okay, I won't quit. I promise, I won't do that. So just kept playing piano, and then, as the years went by, I got some opportunities to play in my local church band. I was actually playing drums in that band. So I taught myself drums for a little while. And then, ended up getting to the college level. I kind of started playing some small time gigs here and there, just local stuff. And then I kind of had to make a decision, am I going to study music at the college level or do this video production thing? Because
you were doing video production pretty seriously too at the same time.
I was an intern at this church called Harvest Bible Chapel at the time, and I was making the most money I'd ever made at that point in my life. It was $20 an hour, and I was living it. It was awesome. But I remember sitting in an editing room at one point, and I was like, man, the only thing I want to do is be playing piano now. And making $0. Like I didn't care about the money at that point. And then it just kind of clicked like, wait, I guess that means I should do music if I don't care about the money, because usually money speaks, right? So I kind of realized there, like, that's probably what I should do. Just do music. So then I was going to community college at that time, and so I was doing all my gen eds and a couple music classes here and there. So I decided, all right, music's going to be the thing. I'm going to go to I was thinking about going to Berkeley, but then I realized how much it costed. And as a musician...
Now, Berkeley in New York?
Yeah, Berkeley College of Music. Yeah.
Okay, exactly. New York. Because isn't there one overseas?
I think... they have like a different campus overseas
Which
somewhere.
don't one here in the States.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Right here in good old US of A, you know? But I looked at their tuition price, and I'm like, nope. Not gonna do that.
Not with this $20 an hour. Like,
no, it's not gonna work.
Not gonna work.
Oh man! So I went to the poor man's Berkeley, as it was called at the time, which is Columbia College Chicago.
There we go.
Did that for 3 years.
Love it.
Graduated with a degree that basically qualifies me for nothing other than I know how to do music. You know, I can play my instruments. And then I was playing percussion, so getting around to the Hamilton thing, connecting it all. So I played some freelance stuff, here in Chicago. I played at church, I played for some weddings, did some random things, couple of theatrical productions, but nothing crazy. Right? I think I played something at the Royal George Theater, York High School, close by here in Elmhurst. Just like things, kind of like cutting my teeth there, and then. I played percussion in my dad's horn band just for fun. It was called Real Horns. Technically still exists. Cool. And so I was playing percussion, wasn't making any money, of course, or anything like that. It was just for fun. But the drummer for that band was the percussionist for Hamilton when it opened in Chicago. Wow. That was back in 2016. Okay. And so he was looking for a substitute because, he wanted to be able to have the flexibility. Technically percussions, they have a drummer, but they have a percussionist who plays like this sample pad, basically. Yeah, sample pad, and then, a keyboard, and then a couple other things. So he needed a sub. He had trouble finding a sub because the book required keyboard, which pretty much all, I guess, the percussionists he knew at the time didn't play keyboard. So it just kind of was a unique fit for me at the time, playing percussion, but also keyboard. And so he asked me, like, do you want to, his name's Jim Wodlowski, and he asked me if I wanted to be his sub. Wow. And I initially was kind of, I was hesitant because I was a full-time student at the time, and I was doing other things, and I kind of said, like, I think I'm gonna pass. Wow. Now, I didn't know. No, so Hamilton had just won all of its Tonys at that time. It was, like, blowing up in the process of him asking me.
So you've heard it here that Austin turned down Hamilton.
I heard turn down Hamilton. Probably the first person ever to turn it down. Wow. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Probably. Wow. And then, but then he's like, well, it pays $450 a show. And I was like, I'll learn it. I'll do it. Gotta pay for it.
I just learned it right now.
Yeah, I actually know it. Just throw me in, coach. Do that.
No way.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay for this school somehow, right? So,
so the connection again. I'm just always amazed at how God connects things, dude.
Absolutely.
Always amazed. Yeah. You don't even know. So you're playing with your dad in his band.
Yep.
And this guy was playing in your dad's band.
And it was all for fun. It wasn't they did maybe one performance per year at that.
But why would he ask you to sub unless he saw your skill set?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You were in position. You were equipped. That's what I'm saying. That's why I tell you guys, you never know. You want to be ready in season and out of season. That's what the scriptures tell us, right? Yeah. So with that, it's like you keep working behind the scenes, working on your craft. Yeah. Just every day, just still working on whoever that was that told you don't quit. You took that to heart. You're like, I'm still going to be practicing all the time. And God was preparing you for something to come.
Exactly. Little did I know at the time. Wow. Yeah, I guess, I've also heard it said, too, like, you don't prepare yourself for your next gig. You prepare yourself for the gig after that. So you're always trying to be one step ahead. So, like, if I would have done, let's say, the bare minimum to be, playing percussion in my dad's band, and just, like, barely learning the songs, like, whatever. But if you go above and beyond, I brought in some tracks and click and loops and stuff like that, and I did all this keyboard programming. And I was like into it. I was learning the songs and listening to them on repeat, and like trying to do everything I could to like really make everything the best I could. Yeah. And not to pat myself on the shoulder too much about it, but I do feel like that, as you're saying, like you're preparing yourself for what's next. Yes. So I guess in one sense, like earned that opportunity before it was even given. Yeah. So it's totally right.
Yeah. And then you have to look at God as like, he's not detached or separate from our natural realm here.
Right.
So what that is
Right.
that as you're working for the Lord, because he's observing, he's seeing, okay, like he's our manager, he's our Lord, you know. So as you're
I like
working,
manager. That's
yeah,
good.
you know what I'm
That's a
saying?
good-
Like
yeah.
literally, you know, especially in music, like he's literally our manager. So if he's watching and seeing your caliber and where you're at, then he'll bring these opportunities. But if he see you just sitting there and just hoping, or just like, oh, I'm gonna pick up this instrument when whatever, then it's like, okay, this isn't gonna be for them.
Right.
And so
Right.
he's managing all of that stuff around us. So we got to pay attention to that and like really just, you said, equipped ourselves.
Yeah.
Just be ready and you know, have yourself approved for
Right.
the situation to come. You know, the opportunity to come.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
wow,
true.
that's so good, man. I love
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
so it shows your dad then who kind of had that creative touch that kind of
Absolutely
fed onto you.
yeah. I mean,
nice.
you know, huge influence growing up. I mean,
Yeah.
he was always you know, when everyone else was listening to, I don't know, whatever,
Yeah.
like he was listening to Steely Dan and
Yeah.
like all this other, like, I guess more intricate type music. I mean, he listened to ZZ Top too. It's not like it was all refined.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know, the band Chicago and just like, yeah, a very, I would say, like an eclectic you know, it was a wide palette of music growing
yeah.
up.
Yeah,
And
same.
so-
Like I love, you know, me and the boys would listen to Spotify all the time. And my 7-year-old, you know, like this boy has such a great musical ear. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, he's like, Papa, I love like the rhythm that they're playing on this section
Yes,
right here.
okay.
And he's like, oh, I love this part. Like when because he recognizes, you know, we got our standard, you know, major scale or whatever, but he's
Right.
doing those little funky chords in
Yes,
between the chords.
yes.
So he's hearing all of that stuff,
Oh,
dude. I'm like,
good,
he's so
good.
good.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
He's gonna be stellar.
Yeah,
Like,
man, the kids are like sponges too. Like
Yeah.
everything you give them, they
Yeah.
just like they learn it and they remember it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and mentioning that, we were just talking about homeschool. You know, we were just sitting here just talking about you know, how we homeschool the kids, and you were saying you're
Yeah.
homeschooled as well.
That's right.
That's awesome, dude. And
That's
I was
right,
saying,
yeah.
I was telling you before how like I can see that because literally those who are homeschooled have those opportunities, have that freedom in their mind of just like not these like restrictions. You can just go for it. I think
Right,
just like you're
right.
teaching your kids to just go for it. It's so open,
Exactly.
you know. And then
Yeah.
and we're shifting out of how we structured and did school
Mm-hmm.
because it takes a shift for the parents too when you go into this field because
Sure.
you're like,
It's very
it actually-
hands-on.
yeah, it like it doesn't have to be like this. We don't have to start and stop at this time. We don't have to stay here at this desk. We could be out at this place and be doing
Right.
things. Today's class can be exploring the world or whatever.
Right.
You have total
Right.
freedom to do whatever you want and
I
everything. You know?
highly
Yes.
endorse it too.
Yes.
Because like, I don't know, I've been thinking about this a lot recently too. Like when you take a whole bunch of kids and then you sit them down. First of all, kids, they want to explore.
Yeah.
And they need to like feel things. They need to see things. When you sit them down in a classroom and they're at a desk and it's like, pay attention now. It's like you lose that sense of wonder, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Homeschooling is so much better.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's just better, y'all.
Yeah, I know,
It's just
exactly.
better.
It truly is. It truly is. I don't know if you follow. There's this guy who's amazing on YouTube. His name is Myron Golden.
Okay. I don't know if I've
Yeah,
heard of
he's
it,
a believer. He used to be a pastor. He's a business coach.
Nice.
And he just be putting business and the word. He breaks it down and all that
Nice.
stuff. You know.
Okay,
And what he does
okay.
is he calls schools. Kind of like child prisons. Is
I
what
was-
he calls it. That's literally what he calls it.
Couldn't be more accurate.
He's like y'all can keep.
Couldn't be
he's
more
like y'all can
accurate.
literally keep call it whatever you want or whatever stuff. But that's what it is because it's not
For
training.
8 hours
Yeah.
a day?
Yeah. That's
These kids are
That's how we
going
started the
prison.
school year. We started the school year. They were coming home after being gone all day because we know what we want to do with them. They're literally musicians. Like
Yeah.
they're going to be dropping songs. So y'all get ready. These kids are about to start dropping these songs. And we're like, they came home from school, and then Landon has all this homework.
Oh my
And he's up
gosh.
till super late doing all this work. And then right away I got so frustrated. I was telling Gabby, I'm like, no, this is not about to be our year. Like they got to
Right.
get out of this because there's no way the whole week we're not going to be with them. I'm
Right.
leading worship at church on Sundays, and then on Saturdays we barely see them or we're trying to work on
Right,
stuff. Like
right.
we can do so much more with them, you know?
Yes, yes.
And right there, they were in that first month of this year. They were in it, and after that, we're like, "Nah, we gotta start this." So
Yeah.
it's been great.
Wow.
It's
So
been
you
good.
just started homeschooling?
Yeah, this
then?
year. Yeah.
Wow.
So he did
Okay.
kindergarten, first grade, and then like a month of second grade, and then we started at home. And it's funny
Nice,
because Aiden,
nice.
we were kind of feeling sentimental because Aiden he had just started kindergarten.
Oh,
so so we kind of like,
right,
okay, we want
right.
to do the whole kindergarten
Dang
thing.
it.
And he was getting used to his little classmates.
Right. Well, I have, a similar story. So, like, I have an older sister. She's 2
Yeah.
years older than I am, and like, she went to the public school system, or I think it was like Hawthorne School or something in Elmhurst.
Yeah.
And I think she was there for maybe like I guess 2 semesters, maybe, and like they spent 1 week
Yeah.
on one letter of the alphabet.
Yeah.
And like she already knew her alphabet at that point.
Right.
So my mom, who's a certified teacher,
Yeah.
she was like, I can do better than this.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna homeschool my kids
Wow, there we
until
go.
it doesn't work out, and then we'll put them back in the school system. Like it wasn't like, cut the cord, we're done forever. But it was like, I'm just gonna do it myself because she knew she could do it better.
Yeah.
And then see how it goes.
Wow.
And then all the way through high school.
Oh, that's cool. You too?
Yep.
You and your sister?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so
exactly.
dope.
Yep.
I love it. That's awesome, man. So
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
And I see that too, just like you as a musician, you taking those opportunities and just putting yourself out there and just going hard. So it's just a blessing. It's a benefit. We'll probably do a whole nother episode on that. But,
sure.
Yeah. So
we'll make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. I love
2024,
it.
man.
So, dude, you got to tell me. So speaking of which, that's actually a perfect segue. I was going to ask, now that you're back here, tell me what roles that you're currently in.
Yeah.
And so pretty much like what roles are you in? And what are some, things that you plan to do this year specifically?
Nice. The short answer is probably a little bit too many things on my plate, but
which one of us does not do
right,
too many
exactly.
things?
Yeah, everybody's busy these days. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. So I'm the music director at a church called Good News in the Neighborhood. And
Oh, no,
I've
that's
been doing
cool,
that
man.
for it is, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Sesame Street vibes
Yeah,
a
Mr.
little
Rogers,
bit.
yeah.
Right? Yeah. When I first heard the name, I was kind of like, really?
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, there we go.
So yeah, I've been doing that so I was doing that while I was on the road with Hamilton. So
Okay.
I was doing a lot of like scheduling, making chord charts, all the kind of like the regular things, just the week to week. And so when I, exited the tour, or when the tour closed, then just went back to that church. And so now I'm there, and I'm doing just the music directing there. I shouldn't say just the music
No,
directing.
yeah, I understand.
Everything
as
from,
far
like-
as your priorities, like
Yeah,
you're focused
yeah.
on music directing.
Exactly. So I get to do that, but then some other creative projects there as well. Since it's a smaller church, I get to like be like a quasi event coordinator. So I'm learning like how to manage all of that.
Yeah. Are
So
you
it's been
kind of
good.
doing like production things too? Like,
Yep.
I know you were doing video before back in the day.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
helping kind of with that too?
There's a little bit of
Just a
that.
little bit? Okay.
Yeah,
but mostly
exactly.
focusing on the music.
Yeah. Just trying to get the live stream to a good place and everything like that.
Yeah. So you
yeah.
sing too?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So
Every now and
are you
again.
leading on keys and vocals?
It kind
Or
of
more so?
depends. So, like, a perfect example of this is, this past Sunday, a vocalist got sick, and so I just kind of stepped in. It was very last minute, and so, like, I'll do the singing, sure. So, it's more like an if need be basis, or maybe I'll hop in on a verse here and there.
Yeah.
But usually I'm just on the MD mic, like, telling jokes to the band the whole
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Yep.
So, yeah, but I'll run the rehearsals, and I'll do all that, and then usually call shots and stuff during the actual services. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
So
So
what
it's been
about So what about any personal projects? Because actually last week or a couple weeks ago, I started as worship pastor at a new church as well.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So it was crazy
Good
because
for you.
thanks, brother.
Yeah.
So back in 2021, I started at a church. And mid 2022, I left that, and I was kind of just like from that season, I was a little burnt out.
Sure,
I went back to
sure.
the church I was at previously, just helping on the
Yeah.
bass, being on the team.
Good.
But it's so funny because I'm always have that worship leader, director
Yeah.
in me, even when I'm just kind of in the cut. So it'll be just like a lot of opportunities where I kind of jump in like, hey, what if we did X, Y, and Z? But then remember, okay, this is the worship pastor. Okay,
Right,
let them
right.
kind of handle
Also, you don't
it.
want to overstep your
you don't
boundaries
wanna-
too much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But it's
Well,
like
stay in
always
your
in my
lane.
head. But and
You
then
just can't help yourself.
Yeah, I can't
You just
myself.
help.
And then they understand like where I'm at as an artist. So there'll be a lot of moments where they'll be like, hey, Joel, what do you think of this transition or things that we're doing in the song?
Okay,
So it's like that. But then this church I'm at now last year asked me to take on this position, and it just wasn't the time at that time. I think it was because I was literally just coming out, focusing on getting my businesses at a place where they need to be where they can kind of just walk on their own type of thing. And so crazy is, things fall into place, and this opportunity came again. And this time me and Gabby talked like, I feel like now is the time to jump into this role.
Yeah.
And it's just been great,
Good.
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So with that, so both of us kind of having that worship director position thing we're doing now, but we're also
But then we also have our
artists,
other
too.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so tell me
yeah.
how you kind of balance those things, and if any of them kind of overlap. Like, how's the flow right now as an artist?
The flow is at one point it was good. Not that it's not good now. I'll get to that in a moment. But like at one point it was, everything was overlapping. So like during the Hamilton days, or even leading up to the Hamilton days, I was doing everything from like playing wedding gigs to like music directing here and there at like different churches in the Chicagoland area and a few different churches here and there. But then I was usually like the the gospel guy, at least at a few churches, because, just I love gospel music. That's basically as simple as it is. So doing some of that. And then whenever I wasn't doing that, I would like be producing tracks for vocalists and bands and laying keys down for some various songs. So everything was kind of overlapping like that. And then Hamilton happened, and so everything was basically like Hamilton first. Everything else can be a bonus, right? Yeah. But I did travel with like a mobile studio type setup. Nothing like this, which by the way, great studio.
Oh, thanks,
this
brother.
is awesome. Y'all, I don't know if y'all can see, like you all can see this. This is gorgeous, but everything around here is just very.
It's funny because
nice.
we actually just did an episode where we did a walkthrough on how to create a podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because people message me, ask me,
Yeah.
people who are guests on here after the show, be like, "How do you set up your podcast?" I'm like, "Let me do an episode where I actually walk through the whole setup."
That's good because
so,
everybody wants to do a podcast.
Yeah, right.
Everybody wants to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. Back to So, had my mobile studio on the road, and then did as much of that as I could.
Yeah.
You just based on availability. So post road, basically as soon as I got back to town, I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna start flying planes.
Yeah.
Like kind of like a sidestep a little bit.
He literally just told me this like today. I'm like, what? We gotta talk about this on the
dropping
episode.
that a little bit. Yeah. So I've always been into aviation, all the time. I'd always be looking up and seeing what kind of aircraft was flying over, and I would even go to airports. And this is gonna sound so geeky. I would go to airports with binoculars and with a radio. And I would listen and watch the planes like take off and land and oh look, there's that plane over there. Like super geeky like plane spotting. You know, like people sometimes they do that with like trains and stuff.
Wow, yeah.
That to me is like whatever. But I was always into planes. I don't know why. It just was. I was fascinated with it.
I mean, because you're always soaring high, bro. There's no limit.
Right.
There's no limit. So you're just trying
the
to.
Sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit.
I had to.
I love it. You had to. It's perfect.
Sorry. Yeah. But so I was like, well, after going to a few different museums and going to, just enjoying aviation for what it is, I guess I either got bored of it or one day just decided like, I'm going to look into flight lessons. I was actually, there's a particular moment where I was at the National World War II Museum in New Orleans, and there's this Boeing building where they have like maybe not 10, I think like 7 or so aircraft just hanging from the ceiling. Like, and
they're like straight up real aircraft.
Yeah, like actual aircraft. They're all warbirds.
You probably passed out. You probably
probably. It's from all the stairs you got to climb to get to the top for sure.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I was reading one of the placards just about a pilot who within 1 year time frame enrolled into the armed services, did the basic training, learned how to fly the aircraft, then learned all the dogfighting tactics, and got deployed into World War II all within a year. Wow. And I was like, what about just the airplane part? What if I just can just do that? Just learning how to fly the darn thing. Like, how hard could it be? So that day, I went to a coffee shop, as I typically do, because I have a coffee problem.
There you go.
So I went to that shop. I looked up how much does it cost? I just want to know how much it costs. And then I realized, it doesn't cost nearly as much as I thought it would. Yeah. And Hamilton being on the road, making that road money is it was very good to me. And so I thought, you know what? I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to have this kind of opportunity financially ever again. So I better do this now.
But you will.
Because I'm a musician,
Well, I feel you. Yeah.
So I, arranged to have they call it a discovery flight, where you pay, you go up for an hour, they have you fly around. And I'm like, I actually like this.
And your co-pilot is the main pilot, just kind of walking you through.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they basically, even if you have zero flight experience, they'll just take you up, they'll let you steer the plane around. So I did that, and I'm like, I want to do this. So then once I hopped off the road, I just went full-fledged flying lessons.
Wow.
So,
how's that going?
Yeah. It's going well. I'm almost ready to get my license. Okay.
This year, possibly?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Oh, wow.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I was hoping to get it this month.
Okay.
But Chicago weather kind of has its own, dictation there.
Exactly. That's true.
But I've already soloed, so I've flown the plane all by myself already. So I've done that.
No,
stop. That's a big step.
You were in the sky.
I was in the sky.
Flying a plane.
By myself.
Dude, that's sick.
It's pretty cool, right?
What?
And then...
you're not freaking out?
Oh, it was great. No, actually, the funny part about it is while I was doing pattern work, so you take off, you circle around the runway, and then you land, basically.
Okay.
While I was doing my patterns, some bozo got on the radio and said, hey, my flaps don't work. and my elevator trim is stuck, but I think I'm okay. And the control tower was like, we're going to declare an emergency for you.
Yeah.
So as I was in the air, I was, looking down at the ground, of course, just checking out where I am, and out roll these fire trucks, and I'm like, okay, great. So
I think I'll land now.
It all worked out. Yeah. And I'm like, which runway do you want me to land on now? Because this guy's going to need the big one. So it ended up working out, and it was fine. It was just kind of a funny thing. Like, of all days.
Of all days, the day that you're up there flying by yourself.
There's an emergency coming. Yeah.
That's
emergency flight. So that was interesting. But yeah, so I've done that. I'm preparing to go what they call cross-country flying, which is where you, like, take off, you land at another airport, then you go to another airport. Yeah. So, yeah. It's good stuff.
So cool, man. Love it. Cool.
It's expansive, but once I get through this phase, it'll be better.
I love it.
That's
cool.
It's fun though.
Nice. And it's funny because this year we want to take the boys on like their first flight. They haven't been on a flight yet, So they love the airplanes. Obviously, it's just so obviously like you talk about wonder. They're just like, man, it's so cool. I like airplane. They ask me questions.
Yeah.
Hey, Papa, when like the plane is going up, is it like super like tilting? I was like, no, it's not like you don't feel like you're super leaning back. It's just kind of just gliding up, nice little angle, and coming down too, so it doesn't feel So just gotta explain it to them, getting them ready. But
that's cool.
Definitely.
So you've been on a small plane before, or
me?
Yeah,
I haven't been on a small one before. I've just been on if I'm going like on vacation.
Yeah.
Just
Got you.
But
the
by small
ones
plane, you mean just kind of like
a tiny
it's just
I'm talking like almost the width of this table.
Like two of y'all next to each other?
Yeah.
No, I ain't never done that yet.
Oh, okay. Do you think you'd be into that? Or
I would, but I'm like, oh no.
Well, see, the funny thing is like, a lot of people will say like, I don't think a lot of people are in the middle on that. Like very few people will actually say, oh, I'm never doing that. Like those are metal death traps, right?
Yeah.
So like, I always tell people like, you could always just hop inside one. You can just have the pilot take you around on the ground.
Yeah.
And then if it works out, then it works out.
But
if you're like, I don't like this, you don't even have to go in the air. You can just,
Yeah. Oh god.
Maybe I'll take you for a ride sometime.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I would love that. Because then you can do it. Dude, that'd be sick.
Pretty soon.
Right. Okay, so pretty much like the boys, they watch. Have you ever heard Blippi?
Blippi. I think I have.
It's like a kid show on YouTube. All that stuff, whatever. And he's all about vehicles.
Oh, okay.
All about vehicles. Like every song is about a vehicle. Every episode, he'll go on an airplane. He'll
People
fire
still sing
truck.
on kids shows?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay,
definitely.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm a little out of the loop. So.
Yeah, of course.
Whatever. That's good.
That's good. So dude, it's so dope. So like they love seeing like the airplanes and all that stuff. So
that's cool.
I think they would enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take you for a ride, man.
Yeah, I would love
Next podcast, we'll be in the plane.
Dude, stop. You already know me. You know I'm crazy. I will do that. Like we'll bring the Rode mics.
Yes.
Set the Sony right here.
Yep.
And just like do our thing.
We could do it.
And talk about
totally do
talk about how like God created the skies or something. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
You could pull a Michael Jackson and like write a song. Like he wrote what was that song he wrote on the Concorde? He wrote, I think it was like Human Nature or something. Or maybe not Human Nature.
Yeah.
I don't remember which song it was. Was it Human Nature?
And he was where?
He was on the Concorde aircraft, that supersonic aircraft.
Yeah, what?
He wrote a song on the Concorde.
That's
I
dope.
don't remember which song it is. Yeah.
It was probably something on that Thriller.
We'll put it in the notes.
Yeah, we'll put it in the notes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was probably something on that Thriller album.
Yeah. I remember that at least. Yeah, it was something on the Thriller album.
Yeah, and we did a 40-year. I don't know if you knew. A couple years ago. Yeah, 2022. 40 years of Thriller.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, 2022. So we did a whole, on Cybernetics courses, we did a whole thing teaching Thriller.
Yes.
Each instrument. It was so fun.
Yes.
It was so fun, dude. I think you were on tour.
That's
I would have
so
definitely had you come in and like.
Oh, that would have been fun.
And handle it, but
tour,
but now you're back, so we can do some stuff. Yeah.
Listen, I'm close.
Yeah,
I'm close.
Yes, sir. Cool. So tell me this year. We talked about church and the airplane stuff.
Yeah.
What's some maybe musical projects? I remember a few years ago you dropped an album. What any future things you're working on? Or
I have a synth duo that's called Flight 328. Ironically, with the aircraft stuff. I guess I did plan it, whether I knew it at the time or not. I will say at that time I didn't know I would become a pilot, but aviation is awesome.
Baby.
So, yes, foreshadowing.
Let's go.
Oh man, so I'm planning on dropping something, or at least working on a more substantial project. So we've done a couple of EPs. We did one like debut album, and so I want to do another like full length album.
So this is a duet. So what does the other individual play?
It's Josh Freddy. He plays drums.
Drums,
and he writes music too.
Yeah,
so it's a nice duo.
Yeah, we'll see if Josh wants to get on here.
Okay.
Yeah,
we could totally do that.
Yeah, hit him up. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
He could tell you about all like the touring he did with Vertical and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Vertical Worship.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he toured with them for a really long time.
Wow, that's so good.
Yeah,
Man,
so he
come
can
on,
tell you
let's
all
go.
about it.
Look at God, man.
I know.
All these doors. I'm just saying, just keep
a small
operating
world.
in your gifts.
Yes.
And everything will just come into place. Like,
That's
don't,
right.
The whole thing how you start off, don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
That's so key.
Consistency.
Yeah, consistency. Because you don't see the future. The Lord does.
Right.
There's nowhere in Scripture where He tells us to give up.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally don't know how close you are.
Exactly.
You could literally be a week away from that breakthrough or whatever the case. All this work that you've been. So you don't give up because the work, like, again, Myra Golden, I told you, he's like, the work, you have to work on something long enough so that the work works for you.
The work works for you.
The work will work for you. So you continue to work on it. You're going to start seeing that fruit.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And you never know, like, it makes intuitive sense to think that one's trajectory in their career, or like life goals or whatever, is kind of like a straight path. But I think rarely is it ever like a straight shot. Because to me, that would have meant like, oh, I went to school. Now I'm going to work with this artist. Now the artist is going to get popular. Now I'm going to become, their like regular musician. And then it's going to blossom into, I'm going to play stadiums. And then I'm going to start producing. That didn't happen. It was, oh, I was doing this, but I was also doing this thing, thing. And one of those things, which had no financial prospect at all, it was just for fun, turned out to land me like basically the best gig I've ever had in my life. And I couldn't have planned for it. I didn't know it. But like, as you mentioned, you do the work, you like keep your head down, you focus, and then the opportunities will come to you. So they actually will.
Yeah, like literally.
And you won't know where.
Yeah, and you won't. And it's crazy because in God's kingdom, He says, be fruitful and multiply. He doesn't say be fruitful and add. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That process is just says like addition. This step leads to this step. Multiplication.
Let's go, math.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, math is a favorite subject. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Z, elementary school. But pretty much it's this idea of like multiplying, like in a garden, fruit. You sow one seed and it produces something that has multiple seeds and it continues to grow and flourish. That's how God operates, So with that, it's like you continue to work and then that trajectory is just going up exponentially. Rather than just kind of like on this kind of, say it's like going like this. Like God's insane. So like there's no limits.
Right.
So you just have to just do the work. It's going to work for you.
Yeah.
So good, dude.
That's
thank
so
you
true.
so much, man, for this fruit, this knowledge you
dropping, man.
I'm
trying. I mean, look at us. It's both of us.
Come on.
This is great.
Yeah. So this is all I want to ask you.
Yeah.
So tell me, because at the end of every episode, we do a segment where we just give something to the artist, to those who are watching.
I love that.
And something that can, spur them on, some encouragement, some life lesson that you have from your experiences that you can kind of leave with the individuals.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Is this one of those like if I had to tell my past self something?
Yeah.
Or like something like that?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
But no pressure though.
No pressure at all. At all. So this is for you're talking like mainly artists or just people who have
just the viewers. Yeah, for creatives.
Yeah. Man, if I had to say one thing for creatives specifically is let's see if I can think of a good way to say this. Essentially, I had a songwriter, a very good friend of mine, tell me once, like, if you write 100 songs, and this isn't just for songwriters, but if you write 100 songs, one of them will probably be good. And as a songwriter, you could probably attest to maybe the 100 number, depending on the person, could be different. But continually doing the thing that you desire to do, and you have it in your heart to do it, like you know what it is that you want to do. And so to do that thing consistently, the consistency will always be better than the quality. That is to say, don't worry about making something good. Just worry about doing the thing. And over time, you will find that through iteration, multiple iterations, if you write hundreds and hundreds of songs, you'll find out very quickly, like, oh, this is the way I should be writing a song. Instead of trying to write one great song and then throwing it away. Like the process of it is where it's at.
Oh man, that's so good. The process, bro.
Yeah, it's really just the mundaneness of it too. Because the mundaneness, it's not sexy. Like being able to just like sit down at the piano and do scales. Like that's not fun. Like who wants to do that? But doing that for years allows you, it like opens the door for so many other things. So just the process of it, even if it seems boring, if it seems mundane, and even if you're making something that maybe you don't even think is good, to just keep doing it, and you'll see that through iteration, it'll get better and better. Yeah,
that's so
that's
good,
what I would
man.
say.
Yes, sir. I
Enjoy
love
the
that.
process.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's so good you said process. That's such a key word. We literally started off this year. The whole thing this year is 2024. So people think about Kobe. His number was 24 and all of that stuff. So and he had the whole thing, the Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, the whole process, the Mamba mentality is the process. You got the banner back there. It's the
Yes.
process of becoming the very best version of oneself. And with that, it's not comparing yourself to others and trying to be the best version compared to where someone else is. It's like, what's the best that I can be, how God made me, and not limiting myself based off of myself and what I could be doing, and working through that process is not the end goal.
Right.
That's what he said when he retired. Don't focus so much on the end goal. Work through this process and see how this process is continuing to build you up and preparing you. Because even when you reach a goal, it's still gonna keep pushing back.
Yeah,
you're
that's true.
always going forward in something new.
And I feel like enjoying the process to some degree is actually a choice too.
Yeah.
Like if you don't like doing your scales, like for example, as a piano player, that's what I'm saying is like, as you all can tell, I probably don't enjoy practicing my scales and arpeggios, but finding ways to make it fun, like if you throw on a beat or you do something else, like you can actually find ways to enjoy it if you choose to try to enjoy it too. That's important. That can help get you through on some of those off days.
Oh yes, sir. Enjoy the process. That's it. That might be a part of the title. I'm thinking that might be the podcast title.
Yes.
Enjoying the process.
Enjoy the process.
Let's go.
That's right. We'll do it.
Oh man, dude, Austin, bro, it's so good to see you, man.
Man, thanks for having me.
Man,
This has been good.
I'm looking forward this year. I would love for us to work on some projects together.
Absolutely.
Get some music out, bro. Let's do this.
I'm in town.
Yeah, I know.
I'm available now.
I love it.
I'll be more available after I'm done with this flight school
Yeah,
thing.
of course,
for sure.
And then the next podcast, one of these episodes, dude, if we do an episode in the sky, I'm
Okay.
dead. I'm dead serious.
Listen, this summer,
Yes.
we can make that happen.
Oh, it's gonna be so dope. It's gonna be so good. Cool.
Make it happen.
All right, brother.
Cool.
God bless you.
You too. You
yes.
too.
And guys, remember, Creative Encounter Podcast is a part of Duet Z-Pain Music, a nonprofit through ACT International. So if you want to support this ministry, you can become a monthly financial partner so we continue the podcast, so the band and the musicians, we continue to release music that is kingdom building and changing the world for Jesus Christ. So guys, we love you so much. Tune in for next week's episode, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Cheers.